up, YouTube? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, and Reason. And always, I would like if you ask if you like what you're hearing, that you consider subscribing and as well as sharing this information with other people because everybody else needs to be informed. But in this video, I'm going to talk about where we as Black people went wrong after the Civil Rights era. Now, I don't have to go over the Civil Rights Movement. I'm pretty sure everybody is familiar with the Civil Rights era in that time. And it was a time when blacks had a legitimate claim of oppression, a legitimate claim of being held back by racism. And as a result, we had that movement, and it was the right movement at the right time for the right reasons. And for the most part, it was very successful. Of course, the race hustlers would disagree because saying that the civil rights movement was successful would kind of dampen the whole race narrative. But it was very successful, and I completely agree with the civil rights movement. And had I been here during that time, I would have supported it and possibly been part of it. But the problem is that, and where we went wrong as Black people, is that after the civil rights movement, after all the civil rights legislation, we should have transitioned from the civil rights era to the economic era. Problem? We never did. Most Black folks never did. And sadly, even more Black folks are still stuck in the civil rights era. They're crying about, fighting a power that doesn't need to be fought, crying for rights that we already have, making up oppressions that don't exist, just like feminists and all the other leftists. And this is the problem. We still, so many blacks, we still stuck in the past. We still dwelling on the past, still looking at the past and wonder why we can't go into the future. We have to leave the past behind. And I'm not saying we forget history, but we can't dwell on history to the point that we can't see the future. So to the point that we too busy crying about racism and all those things of the past, and that we can't see the future and what we're doing to ourselves and our own community. We're so busy looking in the past that we can't see and admit that we are our own worst enemies and look at the problems in the Black community. How can we ever solve them? Part of admitting that you are solving a problem or getting better from a problem is admitting that you have it, and we just simply can't even admit that it's our own fault, even though the evidence is glaring that it's us and what we're doing to ourselves and not no system. Because if America was this racist society with all this systemic racism, then how is it that Nigerians are able to come in this country and achieve what they are? And if they can achieve it, then why isn't that blacks born here can't? If America really truly was this racist society, you think that the white man would not allow Nigerians to achieve what they have. And that doesn't make any sense. So blacks at some point in time, as a group of people, as a race, we're going to have to leave the civil rights era behind, and we're going to have to join the economic era like everybody else in this country, just about every other group who are prospering in this country, but us, because we too busy sitting back crying. So we have to join the economic era, Black people, and as soon as we do, the sooner there will be nothing to cry and complain about. And really, truly, there's nothing to cry and complain about today. Everything that blacks cry and complain about is mostly in our minds. Well, in the minds of the brainwashed blacks, that is, as well as the race hustle. But again, this is my view on one of the problems in the Black community, one of the problems with blacks in general in this country, is we just still, too many of us, still stuck in the civil rights era. And as always, y'all, until next time.